What up, everybody? How's it going? And the coach is here. It's simultaneous. It just was. I have to say, how awesome was it, man? Like, we finally got to see the meeting that we've all been waiting for between you and Dale Keown.
Yeah. I didn't think that I'd be ditching him so quickly.
No. Well, we were. I was like, you know what? It's fine. I was like, if John doesn't show up, no problem. We understand that one, but hey,
but I put in the good word to see if maybe put a little feeler out there to see if maybe he wanted to hop on one of these when we wrap it in the end. So,
dude, yeah, that was
very cool.
That was definitely solid, man. That's awesome because besides Mark Silvestri, Dale Keown is one of my favorite artists of all time. I used to, like I said, write that dude all the time when I was a kid. Yeah, so I mean, I might. You might see me a little starstruck if I ever got a chance to actually talk to him. So
Shadowhawk said Malin just goes to Dale Keown to come talk about Dale Keown. I'm confused.
That's ultra meta.
Yeah, you know, there's a first for everything, I guess.
That's when you know you're a boss.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, that's when you know that you do what you want to do. Yeah, I like it. All right, real quick, let's say hi to the chat. We got Bigfoot Loch Ness is in here. Robert Shepard. NTM, what's going on, brother? Leandro, the star of Viking Wolf, is here. Let's see. Ryan Blue Thunder, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Norn Rad, hey, how's it going? And Chauncey, and did I miss Shadowhawk? Shadowhawk. All right. We're going to get rolling here because we want to make sure that John gets a chance to jump back on EBS's stream. So we are not going to go longer than we have to.
That'll be a long stream. We'll be all right.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure,
Yeah.
I feel like it, definitely doing us a solid by being here.
Dale's not going anywhere. I don't think he's going to croak over or anything like that. We'll meet again.
Yeah. But that was, I mean, as a fan, I was pretty excited when I tuned in. I was like, oh shit. Like it's happening. Yeah. It's happening.
Yeah. He wanted to come over here. Like that's what
I heard that. Yeah. Look at that. I was like, you should have brought him. Let's go.
You're taking him from Ethan now.
The love connection's real. It's real, guys. I can feel it.
That is badass. Mm-hmm. All right, before we get started here, Steve, you want to give a recap real quick of the last story arc we had with
PITT? Sure. It was the second story arc, so we just had the fallout of kind of PITT fighting Zyphoid getting kicked out, but more importantly, Timmy, his kind of other human counterpart, his connection to the Earth, is kind of in the hospital. He's kind of like feigned out. He still has the essence of this other alien organism inside of him. He gets kidnapped by kind of a group of kind of Weapon X looking kind of clandestine scientists to take him to the North Pole. So PITT has to be befriended by Bobby Harris and her ragtag group of superheroes that are working kind of as another clandestine organization to get up to the North Pole. Their group is named Axiom. They have a couple different heroes in there. So they go help PITT go up there. PITT has to confront his brother Roth, who is another Creed alien kind of mutation. He's not half human like PITT is, so they go at it. They fight. Billy kind of gets involved, Dragon Ball Z-esque near the end, blasts everybody up into orbit, and that's kind of where we're left at. And then, or at least Jareb, the spirit inside of Timmy, comes out, goes, hey, I'm going to drop some truth on you, touches him in the head, and then that's where we carry off now into issue 9.
Yeah, so far, I mean, all 8 of those issues have been great. I've enjoyed the story. Obviously, the art is awesome. We're going to see kind of a cool transition from Image after issue 9 into Full Bleed Comics, and that's what Dale will end up publishing all his books through issue 28. So issue 9, and I wouldn't say that these are filler issues by any means, 9 and 10, but I wanted to connect them because I feel like 11 through 13 are kind of more like the story base of these. But these are, I thought was really cool about this is on inks you have Billy Tan that does pages 1 through 11, and Mark Farmer does pages 12 through 23.
Joe, did you want to make that larger screen?
Oh yeah. Thank you. Good call.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Sorry guys. But yeah, Mark Farmer and Billy Tan doing inks on this. I think that's the first time I had ever noticed that when I was going back and looking at this today. And return of Steve Olaf doing colors, which I know we weren't as excited with his colors compared to the awesome palette that Joe Chiodo brought. But
both strong.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Chiodo stuff in the beginning was like, whoa.
Yeah. And there's I think you'll definitely see that Dale kind of continues his. I'm not going to say it's a style change, but we were talking last episode where you're backing off the detail a little bit, probably trying to get these books out. Still awesome, but not as crazy heavily detailed as he was in issues maybe like 1 through 6, specifically when you just had some crazy awesome art. Everyone here should go and watch the actual Keown. And well, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
What I dug about this kind of like at the beginning is they're kind of setting up that, they're a couple, they have the twins, and then they get this alien abduction thing. And you could kind of tell, at least at the time it came out, that this is like very reminiscent of like Fire in the Sky.
Mm-hmm.
The way how the grays look that are experimenting on both of them, just the kind of the way how they both get kind of zapped up reminds me of that movie from like, I think 93.
Yeah.
That movie scared the piss out of me when I was a kid. Like I was like, I don't want to be abducted anymore. Anymore. Like maybe at one point it would have been cool, but no, not anymore.
Were you getting vibes of like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where you're like, oh, they're all right, aliens?
Could have been.
Like,
I mean, in '93, I was 11, so I saw the movie and it scared the piss out of me. I absolutely love these vertical panels here of Zoivid, or how do you pronounce his name? Zavid, Zoivad, whatever. This is one of those. Love the style. I think the color to me on this page is great. I love the tones that they used. You got the kind of reddish atmosphere with the menacing aspect of the close up of his face and everything. Gums and teeth, man. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and then this is when they get dropped back to Earth, and they were just told by the doctor like the day before that she's going to be pregnant and has twins. And then they go back to the medical office, and then for some odd reason that there's only one egg, because the dad's all like, I thought you said twins. Well, there's now only one. I can't explain it as a doctor. So
it's starting to set that up. Reed says shows that the detail is great, but the composition and the drawing still sings with less detail. Yeah, I mean, regardless if there's as much detail as we saw in the first like 6 issues, or it's still fantastic art, and the storytelling is great. I personally love everything about the way that Dale approaches his storytelling, and you still have the dynamic aspect of this 2-page spreader, and this, as far as the rest of the book goes, this still has a lot of detail. When I talk, let me explain for a second. When I talk about detail, guys, I'm talking more about like cross hatching, a lot of the rendering when it comes to coming out of the shadows and the muscles and stuff like that. Not necessarily detail as in just detail of the overall art. So, but yeah, this is just, I love this. Sean, did you say this was
fantastic?
Yeah, this was what it was all about for me. Like this just made me want to draw monstrous characters.
Yeah.
The veins, the muscles, the chains, the shadow. Like this is vicious. This is dangerous. This is dangerous art. This is what inspires me the most. And I love it. I wish there was a poster of it, but yeah, I could look at this all day long.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I did as a kid too. Like these pages
me too.
were the ones that really kind of inspired me as a young artist. A note on the color. I mean, Olaf did a great job of kind of putting in these slight shadows.
Yeah.
On PITT here, it just kind of adds a really nice dynamic to the overall page.
Yeah. No warm underlighting though.
Yeah.
Lighting.
The whole Chiodo,
kind of the cooler tones. That's what I was saying. I think back in the first episode is nowadays, people go for the more subtle tone for the uplighting, but you go back to issue 1, 2, and it's like there's a fire everywhere.
Right.
You can't see it, but it's great dynamic lighting. And I mean, this is fine, but man, if he was like glowing gold or red underneath him, it'd be another level.
Yeah, there was something about the way that Chiodo did that over his coloring career in the early Image days that was just, there's something about that color that is very attractive to me as a reader, eye-wise. It sticks with you.
That, and I dug, at least in the storyline, he didn't jump like they didn't magically just have the cabin that they're living in rebuilt like sometimes they do.
Oh,
and they
right.
just jump to the next story arc and everything's happening. Like there's actually like it's going to take some while for insurance to rebuild an alien destroyed house.
Yeah, a little bit of realism. Yeah, keep it a little bit real.
And then we go straight to the bounty hunter head that the dog.
Yep, I like that you see the skull that we get from issue 2 of the guy. He decomposed really quickly, very quickly. I would have to say. I don't know how much time has passed, honestly, but it's badass though.
Well, if a couple months went by, it might have been enough time.
Yeah.
I'm
maybe.
not into like how quick dead bodies decompose, but I figure a couple months might be all right.
I'd have to ask my wife. She's the expert. She gets into all those murder mystery, shows and stuff. So she could tell you. She could tell you the best way to get rid of a body too. It's kind of scary. If I ever disappear one day, guys.
And that was this. If you go back one page, Joe, where he's just sitting in the classroom, we're starting to see kind of like the latent effects of that alien being inside Timmy, because like he just belts off like some crazy like quantum astronomy. Like the teacher asks like this very trivial question. He just goes into like this really in-depth detail. Like he's freaking out all the other classmates with how much he knows, like just off the top of his head.
Yeah. Jeremy, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man.
Brother.
Great stream earlier too, by the way.
Like the teacher's reaction down there is like, what the hell? Like,
Well, he probably did what I used to do. Put it on your hand. You're like, oh, yeah.
That's how you got through school. I got you. That makes sense. Yeah, just getting attacked by this crazy head. Obviously, there's got to be bullies. You can't go through life without. What's up, Shelby? Sorry I'm late. Can you restart? Yes. Yeah, we're gonna go right back to the beginning. We'll make sure you didn't miss anything, brother.
there's a little other dated reference down in the lower left panel with the one kid wearing the Green Day shirt, and I don't even understand.
Yeah.
Like at an elementary school, the other kid's wearing like the Pulp Fiction tank top.
Well, they're mature for their age. That's probably why they're bullies.
Look, man, in the 80s, I went to school with a Budweiser shirt.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, it's in my school photo.
And this is before they kick you out for that kind of shit.
Yeah.
My brother went to junior high wearing a Corona shirt in the 80s.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. What's up, crazy man? Yeah, Shelby says, earn that thumbs up. All right, man. Tell you what, there's a cursor on the bottom of the screen. Just take that and drag it back, and boom, we magically restarted. Hail the chat. Yeah, I thought this whole issue was cool because we had so much PITT-centric stuff for about 8 issues that this really kind of focuses on the character of Timmy and really establishing him as a bigger player in the storyline, as opposed to, I mean, we saw him a little bit, what he could do in issue 4, but for the most part, he's basically been a victim, of everything, and not a guy that you could really worry about power-wise. And
that's
you
what
really kind of see it.
I like Timmy's grandpa is like not even shocked by like the decimation now anymore. Like at first, as the story's been progressing, he's been like, kind of shocked, less shocked. And now he's just kind of looking at that bounty hunter head that just kind of blew up this open area of the forest. And he's like, whatever,
Right.
What's going on, Elliot? Yeah, man, I'm assuming once you start seeing aliens and bounty hunters and all that destruction, you probably get numb to it after a while. You're like, all right, whatever. This is the world I'm in now.
But, Timmy's getting a little taste of having some power there, making the bully hit himself and then launching him up into orbit, all kind of Jean Grey style.
Hey, Shelby brought up a great point about how well Dale draws kids. And that was one of the things in those wizard books where he does the, like, kind of I can't remember what they're called. I'm sure Shelby knows what the name of those books were. But his section specifically, he had like a proportion, and he kind of showed how to draw kids, how to make the head bigger.
I got that right here.
Yeah, the arms and legs a little bit shorter proportion wise. But yeah, he absolutely draws kids great. That's something I don't think I can draw kids. You probably won't see a kid pop up in Reaper Destroyer at all, because it'll look like a 30-year-old child. Only page of the kids drawn on it that I like to own. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to own any of the original art.
Yeah, the people are fine, man, but I'm all about the aliens. Like,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
we don't really get a whole lot of the double lighting on the kids and the regular people, but we get them, all over the place with PITT and Zoivod. And here's like interesting one, just like that PITT. It's not up to that high standard of rendering.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's if who was it that came in and inked?
I think this is Mark Farmer's at this point because he's pages 12 through 23. So yeah, this would be Mark Farmer inking.
Yeah, there's not a lot or as much information in that spread of PITT as Dale's done, even a handful of pages back.
I almost wonder if this was kind of borderline, almost like finishes by Mark Farmer kind of thing, like more of a loose kind of layout with the information you needed there, and then have Farmer kind of bring it back together. But yeah, that's definitely something you're going to notice in 9 and 10 specifically. I think that you'll see certain panels in certain areas where maybe in issue 1 you would see the crazy detail in his chest and in his arms and like all this kind of stuff that you just don't see here. Still very well done, but
that panel up top though, like everything in there looks pretty great. So
yeah, that one's. I remember when I was a kid, I wanted to draw abs like Dale did it because he just makes it look so, the giant chest and just the ripped abs and stuff. Like, was great at that.
But I like the line that PITT actually tells Billy on that scene where he's like, it's kind of like a flip side where he has to calm Timmy down, and he says,
Billy, who's Billy?
Sorry, Timmy. I like the line that he can't alter what they did to him, and he can't surrender to it. So he's always constantly kind of like, instead of something as cheesy as like I'm always angry, he's like, I know what I am, I know what I can be, I choose not to be it.
Right. Yeah, some good sage advice, from a war-torn warrior, so to speak. I always thought that was a great effect on Timmy when you see some of that power actually come through. That's almost like, that's when somebody's meaning business right there. Like that's a oh shit moment.
When they're glowing like Ultra Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
But Joe, I have that
Oh yeah, there you go. That's it. Let me blow you up real quick.
I don't know if it says clear, but
yeah, that's it, man. Yep.
That's PITT, man.
You know how many times I looked at that book? Specifically because it was Dale and PITT, but I was just like, this is awesome. I looked at that and he had some great tips in there about drawing proportions and everything. I've got them somewhere. They're buried in my collection. I got D-Wag. What's up, brother?
Good, brother.
Yeah. So, all right. That's good. Oh, yeah.
Where are they now?
Where's who now?
Any names we know?
Not yet.
It doesn't look like it.
Every now and then we find.
I was just going to say, it is kind of cool, isn't it? That every once in a while, if you look in the old letters, you do kind of see it's an awesome J. Scott Campbell advertisement for Gen 13.5.
You mean Joffrey Scott?
Yeah, Joffrey Scott. Yeah, absolutely. So we got Dan Pinosian did the inks on the cover of this. And he might do the inks on the... Yeah, he does the inks for the entire book.
It's too bad.
So you got Steve Olaf still doing colors with Quinn Suppley color guides, and then you had Ali Optics doing the color separation. Very cool. So this is the first Full Bleed issue, Full Bleed Comics production of PITT. So I remember when I was a kid, that kind of threw me off. I was like, I don't get it. I don't understand. I was too young to really know what that was all about. I remember I was actually kind of devastated that it wasn't with Image anymore because I was such an addict of Image comics.
Yeah, it's like your gang.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, people were Marvel, DC. I was like, I was Image, baby.
Breaking off from the clique. I like how Grandpa's just soldiering in, like no fear now after all that, like we were talking before with all this like crazy alien shit. He's like, I'm going in there. It's Timmy and PITT. I know them.
Yeah, he's a soldier, man. He'll go in there and take care of business.
But I like this like mental projection thing. Like Timmy kind of like draws him in like Freddy Krueger style into Timmy's mind, so he's like PITT's size, And it's kind of going back to the half issue where he had the Mario Lemieux stick and he's ready just to start slap shotting the shit out of Pitt.
Right. Yeah, I thought this was a cool story, a dynamic, the fight between Timmy and Pitt here. Let's see if I can. All right, there we go. I know these 2 pages. It's a little, a lot of information, a little crowded, but I think it does a great job with just kind of showing the intensity and chaotic aspect of this fight.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. Like, having that crowded look for what's going on here, like manga-esque. There's a lot going on, a lot of energy, a lot of places to look, and it's just fun.
Definitely would have gotten some misconduct for high sticking.
All right, this is what I always thought was really cool. I loved this. Now I know it's in the created world or imagination that we're looking at, but I always thought this was a sweet dynamic. And I don't remember if Dale ever played into Timmy kind of being able to develop this, because he had those psychic powers and everything we see later on in the series. But I always thought this would have been a really sweet look to continue at some other point.
Yeah.
He's thorough. Yeah, he is. That's more of a Brett Hall high stick move. Oh, okay. I got some hockey nerds in here. I get you.
Yeah, I'm talking the language, eh?
Yeah. Eh?
Well, Keown's Canadian, so.
That is very true. 7 said intensity and chaos is Keown's calling card. Yeah, we've said it before, if you've caught some of the other streams, like he's fantastic at the fight choreographs.
But I love the lower panel, like once the fight kind of starts tilting and he goes for the kill shot on Pitt, you start seeing that thing like slowly creep out of him from the chest cavity.
A little bit of like alien-esque there.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that's a badass page right there.
Yeah, it's vicious.
That is so sweet. Dig that. And Steve, you want to explain a little bit of what's going on there?
Well, it's the other half of him that's coming out to play in Pitt. So, you have the human part of him that is always kind of like keeping the alien Creed part of him at bay. So with Timmy going in for the kill shot in this kind of dreamscape, like Zyphoid's finally coming out full front, to try to drop some truth on Timmy.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty sick. This page I thought was kind of cool. It's like, just very simple panels, but just kind of gets the chaotic aspect across. If he's just wiping out these well, I don't know if they're imaginary, but like these aliens that seem to be able to just knock into pieces. And he actually kind of destroyed in this world that he's created. He kind of destroyed his hands there, which I don't think I ever caught that when I was a kid reading this. I just kind of noticed that.
And Grandpa coming in, kind of giving him a hug, trying to knock him out of it, and then they both kind of wake up out of that dreamscape.
I really like something like this because it's subtle, but it's really good storytelling. It's an emotional beat. They went through all of that psychic fight or whatever it is, and as they're both passing out, it's all they're falling and they're reaching for each other. I thought it's a very good emotional beat there. Just to throw a subtle thing in an action-packed kind of book like that. Very good storytelling.
But that was where Zyphoid pops out and tells Timmy, like, hey, by the way, you guys are both half brothers. So work on that. I'm out. Bad guy gone. Like
That's a great shot of the hands and perspective.
Yeah, I was just saying let me get this mic better. All around, I always like this page. Mostly I really dug this. Again, the lighting when you're doing cast shadows or whatever on faces like that, so hard to do and make look awesome. And again, he's one of the best at doing that. And that's a panel right there that just as a kid would throw me for a loop because I would try to emulate that, not knowing what the hell I was doing, because he's got like all the different like ripples and stuff in his face, just shadowed out with a light shining on it. It's just that kind of stuff geeks me out, as an artist. That I really get excited about subtle stuff like that because it's just so pretty to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I like that Grandpa was kind of asking for a recap, and like Pitt gives him the Cliff Notes edition as he's jumping away, mentioning, "Oh yeah, by the way, we're half brothers." And then he's like flying out, and the cop like does like a whoa, that's heavy.
Yeah. Very
Whoa, that was deep.
McFarlane-esque to me, that cop panel.
Right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. Definitely.
Like that alien and that kid are like brothers. Like, oh, the dog follow up.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I just find it interesting when just the colors. Like, they're so much more muted than they were in the earlier issues. I mean, they're maybe more they're well done, they're realistic, but it loses that kind of comic book pop that we had before.
Yeah, it's after, especially going through issue by issue, you really do notice that. Like, I don't think as a kid, you're not going to pick up that stuff, but diving back into these books, like, it's been a little while since I've read these books as well. I know them pretty much all by heart, but really kind of going issue by issue, you really do see the difference of how masterful Chiodo was in those early issues. And it's just, I mean, it's still good, but it's just got a different feel and tone.
But I just like it's like the dog darting out again is kind of similar to like when the dog first found PITT, it darted away from PITT. Now it's darting away from the hunter.
Yeah. Yeah.
That guy's coming back to kill it. And then you just see PITT with like one hand grab practically the whole guy's forearm and like rifle and just breaks it.
Love stuff like this. I mean, that back, just the proportion aspect of, I remember when I was a kid, I would copy proportions, not knowing what the hell I was doing. So I would draw everybody in like this kind of proportion. It's like all my regular people would have these giant arms and like skinny legs.
Your females.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, the female. But yeah, I love stuff like that, man. Like, if I ever do something on Greg Capullo's The Creech, he that was another character who was very awesome with the made the proportions of a big character with the big arms and the smaller legs and stuff.
If you go back like a couple pages, it's the two bullies that were picking on Timmy or at that arcade. Yeah. And then like this government kind of like creeper guy is happening. And so like he's talking to him, and then you go to the next page and like the two bullies are like, well, the guy wants to give us a ride. There's two of us. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
So he's got tugging. Yeah.
Tough kids.
Go ahead, John.
No, I was just saying tough kids. Like, yeah, we can take
yeah.
And then PITT dropping off the dog, and then the grandpa's like, there's not enough room in here for you. Not for me, for him. And then you just see like PITT stoically like walk away.
Yeah. PITT doesn't need any shelter. He's a motherfucking alien.
Well, I love the tagline. He's like, I sleep where I want. Like kind of like Wolverine-esque. Like I go where I want to go.
There you go. Yep, there's that Wolverine influence. Yeah, I like this is actually one of the color panels. I like this part specifically. I like the lightning, just how it's all brought together. Personally, that was pretty solid. The rain shot's pretty cool, but this last spread here of this issue 9, we on 10. Issue 10 here, I always thought was just wicked. Like this is what reminds me of like PITT 1, right? Like this almost makes you think that Dale inked this spread, because it just has that kind of heavy blacks feel that we saw in issues like 1 through 6.
Yeah, I don't know, detail. Man. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, we look at it and we say every time he puts those blacks in, man, like it's on fire. Then he goes through numerous pages, and it definitely can make sense. If you do it all the time, it may not have that kind of impact. Though when I look at this again, like if PITT was just about PITT and the aliens, and if there was black shadow and double lighting through this entire thing, I feel like I think I wouldn't get tired at all. But maybe he's doing it just to change it up and make sure that people aren't getting bored with monotony.
Yeah, probably like story wise, you gotta have the other characters in there to build the story out of. But yeah, as a fan, you give me mostly this, and I'm completely satisfied because that's what I want to see. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, what's going on, guys? Wherever I will roam,
I sleep where I want.
I go where I want to go.
Oh, we lost Sean.
Oh, he'll pop back in, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He did that the other day on Ahrednt stuff. He just dipped right out. And I was like, "What's up, man? What's up, man?"
He does it for dramatic effect.
I think that's what it is. He wants us to make sure that we know that he's there. And it really doesn't look like he does look like Dave Grohl. He does, absolutely does.
Shameless Shelby plug.
So we still have issue 11, Full Bleed Comics. We still have Pinocchio on inks here. I think he did both those. There he is. Back up here. What's up,
My
buddy?
bad. Internet issues, or I was like, I'm done with this. Nah,
No, you're just coming back for the third act. That's all.
very good. Very good.
All right, so let's see. Yeah, Pinocchio and inker. Olaf is the colorer.
Ooh, look how they spelt it. They spelt it like a Canadian.
Yeah, I was going to say the colorer.
Calero.
Oh, and I have to give a shout out. I haven't done this at all yet, but maybe I did. Actually, no, I did. But Chance Wolf, the fact that I talked to Chance Wolf not too long ago, and we were talking specifically about the logos for PITT and the logos for the Max that he did. And he said that I think PITT and maybe the Max are the only time he was ever credited in the inside cover for doing the logo. And he always thought that was really cool. So shout out to Dale for putting him in there because it is iconic logo there.
Yeah, and it shows that Dale's Canadian and they're all polite.
Yeah, it's true. There you go. It's a cool splash page to open up this book. Again, kind of back off on the detail. It's it's kind of a little bit more of a blocky style than we're kind of used to seeing with his art. Again, yeah, it's just deadlines. You know, we know at the time the issues with getting PITT out on time, which, you know, shit, everybody had that stuff in the 90s going on. So, you know, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
As a fan, it didn't really bug me all that much because it was when I actually got the book, I was completely satisfied. So, you know, it is what it is.
I kind of dug this because, like, in the middle of the fight, he's like, "Hey, I actually had to come here to deliver a message, and I'm hoping that you'll grant me kind of like Star Trek-y, like a little Cleon honorable death because Zyphoid wouldn't kill me, so now I'm coming in front of you to fight you to convey this message in hopes in the middle of this fight you kill me. You grant me like this warrior's death."
Yeah, but it is an ink horror.
Inkyo.
Yeah.
Something.
Who's Sean? Timberlake is Timberlost. Yeah. See, we figured you was just trying to get some attention, Sean. I mean, we noticed when you disappeared. We noticed, buddy.
Oh, you guys care.
Yeah, you mean something to us.
Friends.
See, these are the pages I like. Yeah, on the right-hand side, just like they're very simple. You know, McFarlane would do this type of thing as well. It's just very simple. It's like when you need to make up a day, you can do this. Great effect. There's very little that can be held against it. It's good.
Yeah.
And it looks cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Gives you a moment. Yeah. To appreciate drool.
Yeah. But yeah, sometimes the simple is best like that. And and guys like McFarlane, we're amazing at doing this stuff. It's almost like what would it be?
A lost art? The storytelling?
Doing something like this where you just, you can pull back and just do something simple like John was saying without having to put a lot of detail. I mean, it gets the point across, we're just kind of drifting. What was this dude's name? Quag, yeah. He shoots PITT there with
little genetic memory.
Yeah, and we'll kind of see what it does to him later. But this, just kind of shows drifting off into his memory, into his consciousness. There, it's well done. I do like stuff like that as well.
And then we're brought to the Creed homeworld, where we kind of explain why PITT's the age he is in comparison to Timmy, because he was kind of gestated in an accelerated aging tube.
Nobody should ever use chow as a sound effect. I'm gonna use it. Kind of like a musical rest for the pace. Oh yeah. Yep, I agree with you on that. Yeah, this was a cool issue because it just shows you, and you get some alien vibes. A little bit of a alien feel in the next page coming up that we're about to see. But this kind of shows you how deadly of a threat PITT was from an infant, as far as like what you would consider, I guess, this hybrid version of him. But this
I was gonna say go back like one page, Joe.
Man, I keep wanting to get to the cool stuff.
I'm talking about
Steve?
the story, man. This is like a '90s-esque throwaway where like these guys are huge and massive in size, and they have the strength of sumo wrestlers.
Yeah.
Like so '90s. Look at their strength comparison.
I love it though. I love
I love it.
I do. I love the 90s, man. I loved it. But this I thought was absolutely sick. I you know, just menacing as hell. And this is why it reminds me of like, you know, Alien or something out of the Aliens when you first see the alien up in the spaceship rafters, you know, just all drooling and just bleeding and shit.
Reminds me of Ghoulies when that thing comes out of the toilet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's another movie that fucked me up when I was a kid. I couldn't go to the bathroom for weeks. But yeah, this is a good shot here, just kind of showing how much abuse he can take, and then he just kind of gets up and just wrecks these dudes. And that leads us to another. That's one of the reasons why I love this issue. Like, he might have backed off on some of the details you can see with some of the other pages, but when it came to the money shot, I mean, he dove into this. I mean, this is just perspective on this is awesome. I love the action. There you go with the drool.
Yeah, most
awesome
of
veins.
the lettering too is better executed in terms of the coloring. I only seen maybe one or two examples where it's a little too light. I know some of the some of the caption boxes actually kind of bug me because they have that yellow gradient, but then they have like a strong white on the very bottom line. And like I was saying before, I'd rather just be the color, you know, so we maybe get like a darker. Well, not too dark, like a mid-tone dark yellow, and then to like a mid-tone light yellow. And instead of just people are always trying to transition it from like pure white to like a pure dark.
Right.
These are a lot better.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, everything works in this page very well. Shelby said, "Those are the veins we deserve." Absolutely.
Yeah, truth.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, just again, what I said last week. You know, these big veiny arms is just stand in for penises.
Yeah. Yep.
Look at those big veiny arms, don't we, guys? We're just guys appreciating veiny arms,
Bros. But what I like about this like little like kind of like infant Pitt is he reminds me a lot of like kind of like Age of Apocalypse, like Wild Child a little bit mixed with like that Sabretooth.
But cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah, but cooler. Absolutely cooler.
That's cool.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, I just like the brutality of Baby Pitt in this. Yeah, and he ain't holding back. He's just, like I say, he's just wrecking people.
And
He's
that pash sound effect, it was too flat. I'm just like, God damn it.
Right there.
Yeah, a little bit of a gradient, just like that Gilch is kind of perfect, and pash is just too flat.
Yep, I feel you.
Oh well.
And we got Roth making his appearance, deciding to off his competition there in the most brutalest of ways.
I'm sorry, Joe. That is so badass. Like he's about to get into some shit. Like he's ready. He's gonna fuck it up. And I love it. I used to draw it, or I tried to draw it as a teenager. And it's one of my go-tos. Like when the baddie's about to go, that it's awesome.
Another great walking away panel down below.
Right here.
Oh, with Roth.
Yeah. He was, like I said, Dale was great at that, man. And just the back muscles, right? Like I don't think I've ever seen an artist draw back muscles as much as Dale did, but he was great at doing it. And I don't know if it was done a lot in the Hulk. I'd have to go look back. It probably was. But there's just something about the way that he kind of did that walking away over muscular anatomy. It's just sick looking, man. It's just awesome. I love this too. I like the heavy shadow in Roth's face because we all know at this point what the character looks like. So we don't need like that much of a reminder, and it kind of keeps him a little bit more menacing in that aspect in this scene. And
then in the lower right, where it just like Pitt's totally been destroyed and beat, and you just see Quag kind of like hunched over him. He's like, I'm not going to kill this. Like, there's no honor in killing this thing.
Yeah. He should have, though.
Yeah. because he screws his face up and then he kicks him out of the ship.
Yep. I can just imagine Baby Pitt like as he's falling down there. Some kind of sound effect like that. Darren says, "Wish I didn't have to get cracking because I was gonna keep going later." What's going on? Funny, Dale mentioned Baby Pitt earlier. Did he?
Oh,
I
word.
missed that part. I was bouncing back and forth because we were trying to get ready for the show. I'm gonna watch that. I watched that back because I gotta watch the actual moment that John and Dale meet because I missed the first part of that. I was like, "Oh shit!"
That is a Comicscape milestone right there.
That needs to be clipped
and edited and put the love music and.
Well, I was just figuring like the whole episode 1 scene where it's like Anakin Skywalker meet Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you could just be on the Anakin head, and you could have Dale on the Obi-Wan head.
Yeah. Then edit the part where I was leaving, and he's like, "I'll come with you." I mean,
Yeah.
it was just like Titanic. Yeah.
It's like Make-A-Wish.
Titanic. Yeah, Lord Crackhead, if you were in there, clip that, put it together because I know you're good at that. What's up, Nunya? Beanies, bros.
Great visuals on the left-hand page. That Spike dude is fucking insane.
Yeah, I googled. I'll Google pit art every once in a while, and there's a bunch of just the line art that you can find, and this is one of the pages that's just line art, and it looks awesome in black and white because they did that effect here where you kind of blur out the background, which I'm not technically a fan of. And in the actual line work here, you get to see the trees in the background and stuff, and I think it makes it a little bit stronger than when you blur it out with the color.
Yeah,
I know
the
why they're
background
doing
work, I'd probably agree. I mean, there's a time and a place, and sure, it's a tool. You know, it's in your toolbox. You might as well pull it out once in a while. But I think it's a lot better to just start have your colorist just do fades and fade the line art back as you go back instead of doing the out of focus camera.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan at all of the out of focus stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was it. Oh, that was cool though. You got some random sketches. Yeah. There was one thing and I think you have a color breakdown too of this. Yeah, I thought this was pretty cool. An entire process. So as a kid, as an aspiring artist, it's really cool to see them go from the layout to the sketch or to the line work to the inks to the flats or whatever into the finished colors. I remember being really inspired as a kid when I saw this.
I gotta know how many hours he was spending on a page.
During this issue? Yeah, I don't know.
Just any full intense page that he's working on, like just with all the rendering, it seems like it would take forever.
Yeah.
There's so many home runs in PITT. Like,
oh yeah.
When you see something like we pointed out that one thing where it looked like it was underdone, but I mean it's so rare to find something where it looks like it was just kind of phoned in. Like he really goes in there and does the work.
Yeah, he absolutely does. Rick, are you not wrenched in here? I thought you were. Let me wrench you real quick.
And this is a time when you really don't need an inker. When a lot of guys were starting to go shoot from pencils to colors.
Yeah.
And looking at this, I personally,
nice.
Without offending anybody.
No, continue, man.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. You don't need an inker. Like this would be great with as tight as Dale's work is. Just throw in the colors, throw away the inker. Because like personally, I didn't like Panosian's inks over Dale's.
Yeah, not really.
Like, it didn't really add much, but that's.
Hey, I'll go on record, man, and I'll say this: if Dale's not inking himself, if it's not Joe Weems, I would prefer go straight from pencils to colors. All right, here we go. Got some cool fan art. Any names? Nothing that I can see offhand. But I remember there being some actually really cool, some good artists that would do some pinups that they'd send in.
Yeah.
Shelby, those are not in this Wizard
What
collected edition.
What was cool about the end of issue 11 though is when he kind of like there was the side effect
of
the injection, and you notice that his eyes, obviously all the time, Pitt's eyes are red, and then for whatever reason they are just glossed over like entirely, and that's when he goes savage and kills Quag. So we're kind of like alluding or foreshadowing that something's not right with Pitt. that he's not in this right stage. So he's gone to more of this kind of like primal savage state.
Yeah, one of the things I didn't catch when I was younger was that the gums, we see gums there, but his like the pink aspect of his actual mouth is gone, and his face is a lot more menacing. When I was younger, because I didn't read a lot of the books, I was just into the art. I thought it was just a design change that Dale was doing. I didn't realize that there was a purpose that we go from normal looking Pitt now to this kind of more evil looking Pitt. But I dug the evil looking Pitt a lot in this issue. Let's see what I missed, you guys. All right, so we've got Pitt issue 12, and this is a bigger issue, heavy compared to these. Like it really is. Like this is a really thick issue. I don't know if you changed the paper stock or what, if it's just extra pages. But 195. Look at that, man. I wish comics were still 195.
The good old days.
Good old days. So here we go. This is what I really like to change on this, because you got Dale going back to doing inks, and Dale himself starts doing colors. And this was, I think, the first issue where he started doing colors along with Brad Haffey. And another reason why the books might have got later and later, because I know he started to really like coloring himself, but I think he does. We'll have to see what John thinks from the color point of view. But I thought he did a pretty good job on this book. Joe likes thick issues. I do. Yeah, absolutely. This is another kind of subtle thing that we're talking about. A nice anchor shot there of space, and I like this use of panel of going into this cavern or into this pit, so to speak. There you go, no pun intended. And the use of the small panels to big panels as we are closing in on Pitt as he's falling. Mm-hmm. It's a cool dynamic. Again, really? Awesome back muscles, gotta say. This issue took a step back up, like getting away from Panosian as an inker, or just other inkers that maybe been filling in for the last 3 issues, going back to his roots, in my opinion, going back and getting his inks going. You see the details kind of returned, still not as heavy as it was in the first 6 issues, but the detail is really returned now. And scenes like this, I mean, crazy. I love the fact you get thrown into this. This is basically a death pit. You can just see all the different abominations and stuff that's been thrown down there. Mm-hmm. Man, I had no idea he did colors also crazy. Yeah, he did. He colored quite a bit of the rest of these issues, I believe. And that's another reason why I wanted to do this series, because getting into issue 12 through 20, I believe that there's a lot of people that probably haven't seen a lot of this art. And this was just sick, in my opinion. This is another one of those panels that I would study as an artist, and I try to emulate.
I get Max vibes, like through a lot of these issues that we've looked at. I keep getting vibes of the Max. I wonder if somewhere Dale was getting influenced by what Sam Keith was doing over there. I don't know if it's in the fade out or maybe in the composition a little bit, maybe in the design, but I keep getting these vibes. Yeah, color wise, well, the first couple pages is hard to tell because it's, everything's grayed out, and it's, arguably it's just all decay. But here we're getting a little bit of color. It's still kind of a washed out color. So we'll see what he does when he goes on through. Looks nice, but
yeah, brought a little bit of the uplighting back in there.
Yeah,
which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get Timmy kind of having that psychic bond to Pitt, and he's realizing something's up, talking to Grandpa. And this poor Grandpa, dude, he's just going through the ringer. We don't know what happened to Timmy's parents. He's been messed around with aliens, kidnapped by secret scientists, and now his grandson's developing psychokinetic powers.
I thought this was really cool in this panel here on the monitor. This is actually the last page in, I want to say, one of the Pitt offshoot that Richard Pace did, I think. And this is actually the panel that Richard drew. I've got it. I didn't like it because I didn't really like the art. but I noticed that he just kind of threw that in there. I thought that's actually kind of cool because it gives some context of what they're talking about. They're monitoring him this entire time. Thought that was pretty interesting.
And also, we're introduced to kind of like another villain in this world with Think Tank.
Oh yeah.
They kind of explain like there's this whole other group that's working with the Xiphoid and the Kree here on Earth, kind of doing their own thing, and they have their own agenda aside from them. But they still want to kind of be like the secret shadow government kind of group.
Yeah, and that's the truth, Shelby. Yeah, they definitely did. Those two guys for sure.
Yeah, I think on the coloring end, like here, because we are in a different environment, I would say I think it's, for me, for my own personal taste, it's too much white. Like, I'm allergic to white when it comes to color. Like, I want the color to be there. So, like, if you look at the page on the right, like, panel 2, it has that really nice sun coming through, and you see it hit the building, and there's, like, no white in there. We're getting pure color. But then when we look at the girl, we get a lot of white coming through on the boot, on her straps. Her face is very pale. There's not a lot of color going on. It almost looks darker in the last panel, like we get a little bit more color in there. But that's what I want. I want to see color. And the red, whenever you light red, it's always tricky to light red. And I always say, stay the hell away from white. Like, you take, because it just turns everything pink, it makes it look washed out very quickly. The trick with red basically is when you go, you take the pure red, like that's your mid range. Then you can go darker, but if you go any lighter than that pure red, what you have to do is you have to start using like an orange and then maybe work into a little bit of a yellow or something like that. And then you can almost kind of get your way into like a sliver of white. But when you're just hitting like a gradient with white, it just becomes a mess.
Good point. Very good point. I will say that I think that for being, as far as I know, a first-time colorist, he's doing a pretty darn good job compared to what we've seen. But I like when you can break down colors like that because it gives me a different perspective on what I'm looking at.
Yeah. And then when I'm looking at this is what I feel like is exactly why I'm not coloring my own work. It's you're exhausting yourself. I feel like the colors on this page are okay. I feel like the illustration on here is okay. I feel like this is someone that stretched himself out too thin.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's still great drawing capability there, but it's not full blown. If he was just doing the pencils and inks, it would be a whole other level.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something to be said about stretching yourself too thin. I
like when the lumberjack's coming out of the outhouse and PITT crashes into it.
That's a stinky landing. But yeah, just and that's one thing. A quick segue there when it comes to the indie scene creators that we all do, I would highly recommend going and getting that talent to come in and help you with the book and not try to take on everything by yourself, because that's a lot. It might be cheaper, but that is a lot to take on.
Yeah, I definitely learned that lesson from Jump Street because of Shelby. He's like, don't color your own stuff. Don't letter your own stuff. Don't do it. And you know what? I didn't do it, and I'm not going to. So,
Seven says the color reminds me of washed out Easter eggs.
Well, the thing is you can color your own stuff and you can ink your own stuff, but you have to have a style that allows for you to do everything. You know what I mean? So if you're Dale Keown and your best work is when you're spending 15, 20 hours per page just on your black and white, or maybe just on your pencils and then allowing the inker to go in there and spend another 5 hours inking all that stuff up. Yeah. So, something has to give. And,
right.
The only answer to that is a prolonged schedule. And as I recall, he had pretty good gaps in between.
Oh, yeah. Especially in this era. Yeah. When we got into this time.
For whatever reason.
Yeah, when we got into this time, we've got December, and then the next issue came out in March of the next year, and then so on and so forth. So, I mean, Definitely taking some time here. And I mean, if you're doing it all,
It's taxing.
I love that.
absolutely.
I love the tenacity of this lumberjack thinking that Pitt's on the sour end of this fight, so he gets in like this commercial minivan and starts running over the mechs.
he's got a little.
He's such a polite Canadian that he's like, "This is not a fair fight, eh? Like,
Well,
I'm going to get involved."
He's like, I've seen enough.
Yep.
And
You hosers got to play fair.
and then he just wastes like I don't know how much income he has right there. Like that's good though. You want to save the giant gray alien that just smashed up your porta potty. But I like it. Can I say bow now? You can say it anytime you want, man. Yeah. Again, classic. All right, John. You talk about some Max vibes, some Sam Keith stuff. I get that with this panel right here. I mean, that reminds me of something that Sam Keith would do on the Max. From the way the arm's drawn to the panel to the action, he does, just kind of flip flops it right there. But I always thought that when I was a kid that reminded me a lot of the Max.
Yeah, I kind of get it in panel 1 on page 2, like in that arm.
Oh yeah, right there too.
Yeah,
yep.
that one. Yeah.
Yep.
But Killer Pitt down below in that last panel.
Yeah.
Am I a little off where I think that kind of has some vibes of like a little Cyber Force a little bit?
On the bottom? Or
Yeah,
what?
the Pitt holding like the robot guts.
I mean,
Because of the tech?
Because of the tech, I could see that.
Yeah.
They're about to wrap up on Ethan's channel. All right, send Dale over here.
Yeah.
Super chat that on our behalf. Thank you.
Yeah. Get to see these kids now. See what happened to them. They weren't. That wasn't a bad fate for them. I'm assuming this is the bullies from issue 10.
Yeah, they were recruited by the think tank to pilot these mechs.
Oh, they're doing that long before Pacific Rim.
Yeah. There you go. There's another thing that ripped Dale off. I'd be getting my agent and lawyer looking into that, and I got some royalty rights coming.
A little Ready Player One with the way how the visors and the gloves are designed.
Right. Yeah. I'm telling you, man. Get on that. Got some money coming to you. So this is the first time
he's gonna get any money from that, but
yeah, probably not. Yeah. So this is the first time we get to see this dude,
the leader of the think tank.
Yep. Cool character design, very 90s. Kind of reminds me. There was a villain, or there was a character in the Hulk that had a giant brain. He was green though.
The
very,
leader.
Yeah, very veiny and stuff. He always kind of reminded me of that aspect.
That chick looks really hot. She looks like a Silvestri drawing, like that chick right there. Something in the jaw, I think, looks great.
Yeah, Silvestri. I mean, there's some guys that can do that kind of a sharp jaw on a chick and still keep the femininity of them and not have it look too masculine. Oh yeah, the return. I always thought this was awesome.
This kind of has like some Jason, like Friday the 13th vibes, because he's slowly coming out of the lake from panel to panel.
Yeah, and you got to think he's been in the ocean, since issue 8.
Yeah,
when you think about this, like he's just
drifting in the currents.
Yeah, but yeah, that was just an awesome shot there. I like the wording too. It's just like, but never have these beaches given away to anything so dark, so vile, so wroth. Very 90s, awesome. And we get into letters rip. The letters rip, yeah.
Pitt County.
Letter rip, Pitt County. Look at that. And here, oh yeah, this is what I was saying. Like there was some really good art. This pretty much the dude Jack drew line for line that panel from issue 3, but he did a good job of it. Richard Heron.
Kids being inspired, do what you want.
And then you've got some kid from Gobles, Michigan.
Yeah, who's
by
that?
the name of Joe Sontag.
His arms are huge.
That got the coolest thing that ever happened to him in the world when he was, 13 years old. Got a pin-up or a drawing a source, put it in the fan page. You know what was cool about this too is I actually sent the original art to him in a letter, I think.
Never do that. But
I never do that. I know, but I was young. I didn't know what the hell I was doing,
I don't
And-
know. I did that to a Gary Frank, and I got a Hulk sketch back. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh shit. But yeah, like that was I remember I sent a letter to him. I sent the original art. This was back, like I said, like I used to write Dale like once a month. Send it to this
He
address
has a
right
stack.
here. I mean, I did. I'd type it out. I'd type it out. My mom would proofread it, spell check it, and I would mail it out. And just basically fanboy gushing. I remember I sent it to him, and it appeared in issue 12. And I remember the first time I saw that, I was just like, cloud nine.
Now, do you
Yeah.
remember how far you did in advance to send it in?
I can't remember, man. I mean, obviously it was after. Yeah, I don't remember. It's such a long time ago.
Right.
I used to send him fan mail too, except it'd be I'd cut letters out from newspapers.
And you were asking for money, John?
Yeah, send me money.
No,
Or
Chauncey, I sent the original to him. Yeah, because I didn't know any better.
Right.
At that point, I didn't know anything about scans, and in emails and stuff like that. It was just I put it into a letter and sent it to him, and Oh yeah, I got
And then
honorable mention. I also love this cover of Vampirella Lives by Geoffrey Scott.
Geoffrey Scott Campbell.
Awesome shot.
Where are organs?
I'm pretty sure I probably jerked off to that once or twice when I was a kid.
Well, before you throw it away, look at what the ad is on the back, Joe.
Oh yeah, there we go. Which took years to come out, if I remember correctly. Like I don't think it came out like when they were playing. I don't think it came out in January.
Nope.
Almost to a point where I don't.
Well, it might have just a question of which January.
Aha.
Hey, good point.
Ding.
Good point. Appreciating comic book art. Real reason for PITT reviews showing his published fan art. Yeah, yeah. That's the whole reason why I wanted to do this stream, guys.
This whole entire thing was to
just so we
accentuate
can get to
Joe's.
issue 12, so I can show you all. Yeah,
Got us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Last issue in this episode run of this story arc.
Love
Dale's-
that lighting.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
Red. Yeah.
Dale's again doing the inks and the colors on this as well. And I think we'll have to have John tell us when we get into this, but I think he did a major step up from issue 12 to issue 13. But yeah, this is one of my
He's
favorite
still
covers.
coloring?
I believe so. Yeah, let's
Okay.
look. I'm pretty sure he is. Yep, still Keown and still Brad Haffey.
All right.
But this is one of my favorite covers because the red. I love the gesture he put PITT in. Roth looks just wicked there, kind of like a small chin, but you got all the detail on his neck there. Just sick cover.
Where's the signature? Did he color that cover?
Yeah, it's right here. It's just unless the colorist didn't put it on there.
Okay,
just
maybe
Dale.
check the inside front cover, see if there's any cover credits or anything like that.
Let's see. I don't see anything. Got a recap down there. You got.
You went back to American spelling of colors and lettering.
Oh,
Yeah.
son of a bitch!
Yep.
At least
Yeah, I think this is him, man. You'd have to ask him next time you see him. Ask him if he did the colors to the cover of PITT.
Yeah, next time we're
13.
hanging out.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
playing words with friends now.
Yeah, next time I'm ditching him.
Yeah.
I'll ask him on the way out.
Hi,
Such
bye.
a boss. Yeah. Nice to meet you. I'm out.
Slick Rick said EVS shouted out this stream, sort of. Well, that's awesome.
Well,
He probably didn't know exactly where it was at, but yeah. John Malin's missing Dale and Ethan's stream. Yeah. He was there
He
for a
was.
second. He was there for a second. Okay, so here we go. Kind of a
Yeah, I'm
backstory of
hearing
what
that
happened to Rolf.
Roxette song in my head.
The what is it?
I'm hearing that Roxette song in my head.
Yeah.
But it's over now.
Stop gatekeeping Malin.
Malin gatekeeped him. I gotta go. Deuces. You put up the wall. He's like, I gotta go. Bye.
Yeah.
Malin's got to play hard to get.
I was just gonna say,
That's
yeah,
right.
it's a
That's
hard to
right.
get game, like you
Yeah.
gotta do it. Yeah.
It's a hard move to play, but sometimes you just got to walk out like you don't care.
Yep.
Then
What's
they
up,
want
good
you
stuff,
more.
Comic Skater?
Yeah.
What did Rick say here? I missed your comment. Oh, okay, gotcha. So
You
yeah,
got
this was
Roth like doing this crazy like subsonic scream that picks up on Axiom's sound channels that carries over into the next page.
What I like it's a very warrior kind of like come get it, you know.
Like-
we're gonna rumble.
Like Schwarzenegger and Predator near the end.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, I can't do a Schwarzenegger. You got some good underlighting there. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Got some interesting tones on the teeth there. Kind of hard to pick up, but like I feel like he stepped up his game in colors in this issue compared to 12. And we'll see here. He goes really heavy on the green and the pink blood when they start really fighting each other.
Yeah, this jump splash page was
Fucking
rad.
awesome. God. Yeah. This is the shit, man. This is what made me actually fall in love with double spread pages is PITT. Like I always loved the double spreads, you know, but Dale just did it so often in PITT and they were just so cool. I love the cross hatching and the underlighting there. Like, they're just so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I wish I could do with that. That's such a steady hand. John, would you do that with a tool, do you think? I mean, obviously you do digital, but like back in, you know, doing this kind of thing, would that be like, you know, maybe with a French curve or something to get something
yeah. I mean,
that
when
fine?
if you're at that size, but I don't know. I mean, the whole thing is you turn the page around and you make the curve fit the curvature of your hand. You know, then you're just kind of moving at your elbow. You know, so it's possible, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what way he would have went about that.
So perfect though. I love that technique. You just look at everywhere on the underneath. I just love how you can. And sorry if this bores people, but you know, this is the kind of stuff that really, that turns me on as an artist is seeing the cross hatching, the way you can bring out shapes, and the way the light hits those shapes. Yeah, it's very, very, very cool. It would be a nightmare to ink Keown. Yeah. That's probably why not that many people besides Joe Weems that I've seen have done it to a point where I've really, really dug it. But I think here we go. We have a little bit more of a return to some good cross-hatching detail and cast shadows and bounce shadows and all that, bounce lighting and all that on his characters. Again, with this issue. Love this kind of a stance. Kind of like that Wolverine-esque, you know. I used to draw my characters in that stance all the time.
Yeah, sans the
Over-exaggerated.
eyes, it would be a great Venom.
Yeah.
Good point. Over-exaggerated, but pretty awesome. All right. This is what I'm talking about, John.
The tractor beam.
Yeah, we start hitting some crazy colors in this scene. I don't know if it works specifically for you for what you're looking at, but I remember like it really pops. I remember that as a kid. Like this issue really popped.
Well, I like the tones that are being used on PITT. Like it doesn't look like he's going to like a pure white. Looks like he's staying within that range, that hue. But like all these big open sky panels, I'm a little disappointed just because I feel like it's like throw down gradient, move on, throw down gradient, move on. So again, something's gonna give eventually when you're taking on that much work. So
right.
It's gonna be the rendering, or it's gonna be, you know, in this case the backgrounds. So
yeah, I would love to talk to him and ask him if it was just something where he just kind of fell in love with colors. And it was like, one, I can save money, and two, I like doing it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, coloring is, you know, fun. It's just it's a time thing. I think the colors he's using on PITT, I think he's really got it kind of figured out, like staying away from that white. But even then, that white background, what is he doing? Using it 2-3 times on there? Just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to see like the. Again, like I talked before, you know, like a fiery color. It's a big, violent shot here.
Right.
Even if it went pure red in the background, or you know, even on the uplighting, again, throw the red or that orange or whatnot. You know, just kind of light it up.
Yeah, I feel you.
Minor stuff, but the art there, like the line art and all that stuff, is on point. So,
right.
You know, the rendering of PITT and this other alien guy, it's great.
No, it's a great perspective. Like I said before, I really like it when you kind of break down the colors, because it's something I'm kind of learning to keep my eye on. Because a lot of times when I've worked with colorists in the past, I'm just like, you know, you do what you do it, you know, and it
Mhm.
is what it is. But really having, you know, kind of a breakdown, I appreciate it as a creator. It makes me kind of rethink some things.
I like in the upper right, like Bobby's talking to the other guy, and he's like, "You sure you're gonna get into a fight with those guys again? Like you barely survived last time."
He's
Well,
like, he's like, of course I am. Don't you remember what I did last time? I
yeah,
grabbed his arm. I just submitted the entire PITT, or submitted the entire PITT series to hardcover blindery to have it all combined,
Yeah.
contained into one big. Oh, that's awesome,
Oh,
dude.
very cool.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mark
I've
Polton used to do stuff like that.
Yep, I was just gonna say I've talked to a few guys that have done that before. That's pretty badass. Yeah, hell yeah. Rick dropping the links as he always does. Appreciate it, brother.
No,
Yeah.
thanks, Rick. Appreciate it.
John, say goodbye to Dale. They
Oh,
are signing
bye,
off.
Dale. Call me.
Call me.
Get my number from Ethan.
I mean,
Holla.
now you guys are best friends. You know, we'll be seeing the John and Dale streams here pretty soon.
That'll be epic.
One thing I really liked that I was going to bring back. What did you think about the use of the greens here? Because as a kid, I thought this page just really popped out. Because you had the pinks, the greens, the grays, the blues.
Yeah.
Just a really interesting use of the palette there. But I really dug it.
No, I mean it works. Like it looks good, you know. But when I look at something, I'm also looking at it through the eyes of someone living in 2021. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
back in the day, this is all great, you know. But now I look at like Kyle Ritter, and Kyle Ritter has such a rich palette. Like his greens are really green, like they're like, you know, neon, green, like this green. You know, it's like it's a real powerful green. And his blues are really blue, and his reds are really red, and you know he can really use that kind of dynamic lighting. And when I think of that, that's almost like pinnacle of coloring for me now, in terms of the richness of all the colors. So, you know, I like that panel specifically where you're pointing out, you know, that water punch one. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know, the blood-ish color, I don't know. Has it always been kind of that pinkish tone?
Yeah, he's always had that pink from issue 1. He's always
Okay,
had pink
okay.
blood.
Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah. Yep.
So whatever, you know, it's good. It's fine. It works. But for me, it doesn't have that oomph, you know. And even like the guy on the jetpack, you know, that sky, I kind of want to see like the sun kind of bursting through, you know, and maybe pushing through some of that line art. So, you know, but, you know, a lot of that is just more modern, I guess, coloring tricks and whatnot.
Yeah, yep, and I get that. But yeah, I completely, I do see what you're saying.
He kind of flies out of the ship like Captain Weedy Man. No way. Like,
yeah, like what is he really?
There's not like high impact, kind of like Cannonball. It's just kind of like the Jetsons with like those little poop, 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 as he's flying like out of the jet.
So we go through that massive battle. I know I say this all the time, but this literally was one of my favorite issues.
I love it.
Because it just.
And then we're in the lower part. We're getting like a second, like kind of savage transformation of PITT a little bit. So something's up again. And
I love the use of silhouette.
And then Roth gets inside the ship, and so then like the real shit has hit the fan for everybody inside the ship.
See you, Elliot. Thanks for dropping by, man. Appreciate it.
Later, brother.
Later.
Well, you can see that, you know, the Zoivod or whatever his name is, showing up in his eye too. You know, that gives you kind of a foreshadow of what's going on. And this is when we learn that Kite has robot arms.
And we get kind of like the Spider-Man Thanos kind of insect reaction where he's like, "I've had enough of your shit. Like, you're done."
Yeah, it's like, all right. You're a fleeting little insect that needs to be stepped on. The PITT VOD transformation, yeah. And again, this is a really badass design. Let me see if I can fit this in here. Yeah, this was just sick.
Green underlighting there.
Yep.
So interesting.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it is interesting with the green underlighting. I don't know where the green's, you know, coming from specifically, but
doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Doesn't
that
matter.
rule is gone from issue 1. So, but that's what allows for that to happen, is when you just say, all right, we're going to make this green,
I'm a proponent of any kind of underlighting. I don't care where the light's coming from. It just makes something pop, makes something look really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the design on this, the pit VOD or whatever, what chance you call it? The pit VOD transformation. This is just a sick design. Very cool.
Yeah. But look, if I was coloring my own work, dude, I'd probably be having the exact same things. It's a lot easier for someone to sit back at a distance and say, if you would have done this like that,
Right.
So it's a lot of work that he took on.
That's my brother.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Jimmy? He says, creating a color palette for a main character even harder than the initial storyline, or are they equal?
Well, creating color palette for main character is super important. I mean, would Superman or Spider-Man be the same without their red blue? Would Godlike be the same without red blue? Like there's it's very important. So, and what was the second half of that?
He said, or are they equal? So,
then the initial storyline? No,
Yeah.
the initial storyline is just as important. Like everything matters. The logo matters. The lettering matters. The sound effects matter. The narration, caption, colors matter. Or they don't. And if you don't think they do, then that's fine. But to me, everything matters.
Hey. So NTM said, unbelievable. First, EVS stopped Keown from hanging out with Malin. Now Joe did it. Oh man, don't put me in that boat. Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, but what I like about this page, like if you flip it around, Joe, like
upside down.
There you go.
Yeah, upside down.
No, not upside down. What's funny is Marvel tried to emulate this later on when they made Weapon H, which was their version of Wolverine and Hulk mixed together. Mm-hmm. And they still didn't even come close to the amount of detail and how badass this character is.
Yeah, because they didn't lean on to what they could do design-wise with like a Weapon H. But I mean, again, the Keown, the Keown-esque, you're not going to get that from any other artist.
Yeah,
there's certain artists that just do what they do. Yeah,
like you can, without Dale, like Dale is like the pinnacle of like the Hulk type artist. If you want big, bulky, like nobody to this day has done it as well as Dale did it with PITT.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the level you need to do. If you're gonna do a Hulk book, you need to be doing fucking PITT level shit, man.
Yep.
So, facts.
Yeah, and Wolverine Hulk, great idea, but if you don't have Dale Keown fucking drawing it,
Yeah.
Especially with the double lighting and all that stuff that he was doing back in these days. I don't know how much of that he's retained over the years. Last stuff I've really seen, it was kind of like colored pencils, and it loses a little bit of that.
What's going on, Ben?
Contrast.
What's up? What about? Good to see some guys flowing into the chat here. Yeah, that's why I was so excited to see Dale go back to the Incredible Hulk after so long and do that Hulk the End book. And the art on that, like I did a video of it. It's on my channel somewhere. But Joe Weems is inking that. But the art in that's just fantastic. And that's one of the, I thought Dale was just on his game. Weems was killing it. I highly would recommend people going and checking that book out as well.
Yeah.
Another great, in my mind, great poppy use of the green here. Can't wait for the PITT omnibus. Yeah, I think we're all looking forward. I'm looking forward to new PITT issues. Personally, like
I want to see a Kyle Ritter coloring a brand new PITT cover. So,
right? Yeah. Oh yeah. I
think that's gonna be crazy.
And I kind of call this like the since it's PITT Void, it kind of like reminds me like the only reason you find out that Zyphoid had Quag come here was to inject PITT so he could take over PITT to kill Roth, because he found out Roth kind of like Transformers like Starscream-esque was trying to undermine Zyphoid, so he was going to try to take over the Creed. And he's like, oh, you didn't know that I found out that you're trying to like create this uprising within the ranks? Like, don't worry, I'll come back down to Earth and kill you. I'll find a way to do it. So it's like that Megatron kind of Starscream kind of dynamic.
Jeremy said Dale was just talking about more PITT a minute ago in Ethan's. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that channel, or I'm gonna listen to that tomorrow when I'm at work.
That's more important to me than curing diabetes.
I would kill to be on that stream with Dale Keown.
Wow, I think we all need to back God like
damn it.
At the highest tier now.
Yeah, I did like to see John is godlike. I like to see that. Thank you, PITT.
Perfect.
Appreciate it. All right, so that ends PITT 13. That's pretty much going to be the end of this episode as far as
an important ad at the end as you scroll.
Scrolling.
There's one more page.
Fan art still?
More fan art. One, keep on going. Right there.
Oh, there we go.
Not
Look
your
at
mama.
that.
Yeah.
Your mama is an alien.
Wow.
Your mama is an alien. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd say my impression of the color is it's improved upon from the previous issue. So
said EVS is gatekeeping Dale from Coach Hard.
Not this time.
Yeah, I'll take the blame. That's fine. I'll take the blame this time around. But next time is fully on EVS. The fan art is cool. I wonder if anyone made it. If you looked in the Savage Dragon fan art, I know that the guys that created Arachnus,
yeah,
they were in the fan art, or I think they had actually entered that contest to have their characters show up in like Savage Dragon 10 or whatever, but they eventually went on and did their own book, which was cool.
Yeah, I threw in a character for that thing. I threw in a
Did
couple.
you?
That create your character. Wasn't there was some, and a lobster or something won it.
Yeah.
Jimbo the Mighty Lobster won it.
Yeah.
Jimbo the Mighty Lobster.
I did the same thing for Youngblood.
Do one new issue of PITT when the omnibuses. We wait for issue 2. Whatever he wants to do is fine with me. I just want to see new PITT. The omnibus I will definitely back, but if we get,
I want one issue of PITT, but I want it to be like 100 pages long.
Yeah, as long as we get something new from Dale when it comes to PITT. Like I've been waiting since 1999, 2000 for a new PITT issue, and just to pick up that storyline. One thing I was going to bring up about issue 13. It's kind of sad that it was the last time we actually get to see Zoidbin, because it goes off in a different direction story-wise that we'll get into next week with issues 14. Yeah, he goes into that direction with issues 14 through 20, and then the series ends. And that ends on a cliffhanger because they were bringing in some pretty cool characters with that as well. Hey, John's a man of his word. He said he'd stream with Joe, and that's some stand-up shit. Absolutely. That's right. And we were, it's funny because we were watching a little bit of EVS as we were getting ready to go live, and I saw John on and I saw Dale on, and we were talking about it here. I was like, hey, we're fine if John doesn't want to jump on with us, because that's cool with us, so like we'll hold off for a couple minutes to see if he's coming, and then we'll go live. And then sure enough, 9 o'clock rolls around, or 10 o'clock rolls around, and John's jumping on with us. So that is some stand-up shit. That's the kind of guy that you want to back. When God
I left
comes
Dale
out here.
Keown to talk about Dale Keown.
That's
yeah. If it doesn't get any more meta than that, I don't know what the hell is going on.
On my first introduction to Dale Keown, I left.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna talk about your comic book, but I can't talk to you right now, so I got a jet. Like,
goodbye.
Yeah, he was giving you a pound, but like you had dipped out already.
You left him hanging with his fist bump there, John.
Oh shit! I didn't realize.
He gave you a virtual fist bump like Leandro and I do.
Yeah, well, he did that when I was on
Z.
stream. Did he do it another one when I was leaving?
Yeah, he
You
was
were out
going
already,
for
yeah.
it, and you were already out. Like,
Oh
he was going
shit!
this.
Oh no!
Crypto Ken says EVS called you guys zeros. Oh, that's sad. And I give him all that money in super chats. John
But
makes
we
every
won't
stream
take
better.
offense.
Yeah, I don't take offense. Too many people streaming about comics is a great problem. Yeah, absolutely, especially good ones. John's true role. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's what I'd like though, man. I'd love it if throughout Comicsgate channels like YouTube and stuff, if hey, one day here's Dale Keown popping in. Wouldn't it be great if Rob Liefeld's popping in? And what about all these other artists out there that fans are would love to hear from?
Yeah. So Drew said, I hate to see Malin leave, but I gained more respect for him because of it. EVS lost some on his super chat and skipped it. Not doing that anymore. Still love him though.
No, sometimes they get missed. It's not,
yeah, sometimes
it's
it's
not
just
personal. Yeah.
when you have that big of a channel and you're getting that many
Mhm.
super chats and you're trying to be entertaining and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think he's missed one of mine before too. That's
Yeah.
no big
Well,
deal. It
like
happens.
I've said, and Joe probably knows this by now, it's like when you're running a stream, it's like you're drumming because it's you got to keep the conversation going. You got to get over there and talk to chat. You got to go over there and check the super chat window. You got to look for the next article that you're going to bring up. Like it's work, and Ethan does it, makes it look effortless, but he's up there, doing 10 things at one time. So, just give him a little bit of a break.
Always
sometimes
easier to be a guest than the host.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll look at
That's
the chat and I'll forget what I was going to say. Like last night, we were talking to Graham Nolan on Ahrednt and stuff, and I'm looking at the chat and I'm trying to hold on to my question, and I get back to him and I'm like, "Fuck, the question's gone." Like I couldn't even remember what I was going to ask him.
Well, that's why I'm here.
So before we wrap up the stream, we got some interesting or some exciting news from Malin about Graveyard Shift 3. Talk about that for real quick.
Yeah, I got supplemental books in today, and I think I'm gonna get Little Graveyard Shift in tomorrow, and I might get Volume 3, the main books, in come Friday. So fingers crossed on all that, and then we're going to get Mark out here to sign them early next week, and then we're going to start shipping these books out. I'm hoping by the 31st of July we'll ship our first book.
Yeah.
So we'll see how everything lands and plays out. We've got to wait for these books to come. Anything can happen still, but I'll be waiting by the door for the oddly they mix them, sent it through UPS, like they were all individual boxes, no pallet. So everything I've gotten from like Transcontinental, Print Ninja, they're always on pallets. So this time our UPS guy had to bring them in one at a time. So
wow.
And those are going to be like the graphic novels that have 1 and 2, because that's kind of what I packed. That's what I'm wondering.
He's like, I want mine first, damn it.
What do you mean? The collected edition? Is there
yeah.
Well, we already had those done. Like we did those. We had, because I mean we were just reprinting those, so we printed those at the end of last year. So we already had those. Like those have been in my garage and just waiting. So yeah, we're waiting on all the main books. So like just everything. So
RBI Studios says, what about the swimsuit issue?
Those are going to be off to print here in about a week or two. So,
nice.
But we're going to do the first campaign first, and we're going to do the variant campaign second. So we'll have plenty of time. It'll take probably about a month just to do one campaign. So we'll see. We'll see how quick we can get it done.
And that's when you're going to drop Godlike after you do the first campaign, not the variant one? Or?
As soon as we start shipping is when I promised that I would launch Godlike. So as soon as one package goes out, boom, now I can launch Godlike.
Nice.
So, but we'll be waiting. We'll be waiting potentially, because I'm waiting on colors right now for a few of these pages. So
yeah, well, it's right around the corner, everybody. I mean, the fulfillment of Graveyard Shift 3 is right around the corner. Godlike is right around the corner. I mean, we're getting into an exciting part of the year now. I mean, and I agree with Snake Oiler. Wait, where'd you go? So the year is flying by. It absolutely is. We're about to hit football season, but more importantly, we're about to hit some awesome books. They're going to come out, and awesome books that we get to back. So it's getting exciting, man.
2022, man. I'm feeling really good about that. I feel like we're still trying to get things landed and then new things up in the air. Like it, a lot going on, just like the drumming scenario, just a lot of plates spinning, and hopefully in a month from now, it'll be a little bit more under control for me. Just, the chaos of everything. So,
and then the minute you're done looking at that and you put your head up, you'll find out we have For the Fans Fest following the fall of next year. So.
Yeah. I mean, 2020 and 2021 can go fuck themselves,
right?
But 2022, man, we're going to be in a much better position. Like we're going to be ahead of the game for Graveyard Shift. Fingers crossed, and same for Godlike.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. We're getting away from all this bullshit, and it looks like we're getting into a clear. And yeah, next year is gonna be really cool. A lot of good books coming down. I'm gonna be dropping my book next year. Sean's gonna be dropping his book. You got Cyberfrog 3 is either coming at the end of this year for campaign or next year. I'm not sure, but that's gonna have the awesome Dale Keown wraparound cover with the salamander. I mean, it's just the future is very exciting right now. Like I'm extremely excited about the stuff that we're getting.
Same here.
Drew said, how long does it take to draw out a whole book, and specifically Malin?
If you're working for somebody, you should probably be doing, 3 to 5 pages a week. That's what it was pretty much for Marvel. I think I was on a 6-week schedule, so about 3 to 4 pages in a week, and that's full black and white. If you're working for yourself, take as long as you want.
All right.
Great advice.
Make your deadlines.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you work for somebody else, make your deadlines. Like, don't hurt someone else's business. If you flub your own deadlines, then you're only hurting yourself.
Slacker 2386 said Dale said he would go too. If you're talking about Fan Fest, that would be sick.
Yeah, he did make it sound like he would show up.
That's gonna be a good time. I got to make sure that I make the plans, get the money around to be able to travel. One day we'll get a Graveyard Shift, PITT and Cyberfrog team up. Anything's possible, man. I mean, it really.
I tell you, like, the character I have, Ruiner, that's inspired from PITT. So if I ever get the chance, I'd love to get Dale to do like a cover or pinup or something like that, just of that character, and then I'll make a whole new book just to put that on the cover. So,
get that Dale Keown Ruiner t-shirt money.
Oh yeah, that'd be great, man. Hell yeah, that'd be epic. So and then I'll get Kyle to color it, and I'll tell him to put the big crazy uplighting up on there.
There you go.
Like,
yeah,
printing money.
I mean, guys, we are extremely lucky right now. Everybody you're excited in the chat. We're all excited around. I mean, like, this is a good time right now in Comicsgate. We got some awesome things happening, some great talent coming over. It's a good time, man. Looking forward to 2022. It is very inspiring.
And from the fan, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of interesting things to back. Like what you were mentioning before, John, we have to be better than the mainstream industry. We have to provide a better product for the fans like myself and other people to back, so we don't even want to look back. Like it's like that old joke in Cannonball Run, the first rule of Italian driving, and he rips off the rearview mirror and throws it away and goes, there is nothing behind you. Like, we're just moving ahead with Comicsgate and better campaigns and onward and upward.
Yeah, we have to try, man. We got to do our best to do better than everybody else. That's how we'll win.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. I was going to say something I forgot. Again, see, that's what just happened. I'm paying attention to the chat, holding on to a thought, and it's gone now. It is what it is. If you guys would stop making so many badass books, I would save money. Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Sometimes it takes John getting on a stream and ranting and giving everybody a kick in the ass to just kind of remind us what it is that we're trying to accomplish here in CG. When it comes to quality-wise, professional-wise, like, if you want to compete with the big boys, you got to act like the big boys. You got to stand up there and do it. When I was in the band, I talked to a guy that was in the mainstream music world, and he said, on the local level, he told me, it's like, Joe, he's like, if you want to be a rock star, act like a rock star. Be the rock star. Even if you're playing in bars or whatever, you carry yourself like that professional. You have professional product, and you have professional live show. He's like, that's how you do it. And sure enough, it was great advice. And John pretty much said the same thing when coming to this, like, be professional, put out that quality work. You want to look at a CG book and you want to look at that book and say, like, that is better all around, art, story, character wise, production wise, than anything you see on the shelves. Because that's how you beat the mainstream right now, which is just begging people to come over and look for something better with what they're producing.
Yeah. It depends on what you want to get out of things too. If you just want to make a little bit of money and that's it, then great. If more power to you, but if you want, like, this provides the time, the money for people to do something really great. So if you ever thought you had it in you do that one great thing, the fans are letting us do that. So, we gotta give it a shot. That's what I'm trying to do with Godlike and Graveyard Shift. I'm still trying to be sure that I'm involved with Graveyard Shift and steering that into being, something that'll be memorable down the road. But largely my energies are going to be focused into Godlike and making that killer.
And so far, it's looking awesome. I think it's, like we said before, it's a highly anticipated campaign. So I'm really looking forward to the numbers on that because I think it's going to do very well. And like I said before, the week that you drop it, Sean and I would love to get you on stuff sometime the next week, whatever, sometime closer when you drop it, because we would love to be a part of that excitement for when it comes down.
Yeah. No, and look, you guys, people are throwing numbers out there, but I'm just saying, look, if I make it to 100,000, then I'm incredibly grateful for that.
Yeah.
It looks like that's a possibility. We have like over 2,000 people on the sign up already. So
nice.
We're on track. We
awesome.
just gotta land this and make sure that people are going to go in there and support this to the best that I can motivate them to do that. So
hey, as a small time creator, I get extremely excited when the bigger names like John and EVS are dropping campaigns, and I get extremely excited to see those numbers tick up. One, I'm happy for them individually.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, I'm happy to see the individual success, but it's just a rising tide lifts all ships kind of thing. That's good for all of us. It really is.
I think most people what are the quote smaller campaigns, I think most if they've had good story, good art, have seen an increase. And I think that unless you're up at like the 200,000, 300,000 level, which I think is kind of like the high of the middle tiers that I would say we are, myself, Cecil, maybe Shane. Maybe that came off a little bit insulting. I don't know, but I didn't mean it, Shane. But whatever. Like that's kind of high benchmark, whatever. But I think that people that are in these so-called smaller campaigns have every possibility to double their sales. Again, it's just a question of how hard are you drawing? How hard are you coloring? How hard are you trying to motivate people or convince people that what you're trying to do is something you want to be great? If you're not giving it the full push in every aspect where everything matters, then you may just be getting what, the customers are deciding your value, and they'll say, well, this is what and that's something that bothers me. People are like, this book should be doing a lot better.
Right.
And it's like, well, should it? Is everybody doing everything that they can in order to make sure this thing is performing well, within the group of creators that are creating it? Because that's kind of the main thing. If everybody's doing everything right, meaning you're working hard, you're challenging yourself, you're trying to push yourself into that next dimension, then I think people will come and back you. I think they'll support you. Just knowing that you're trying that hard. I think that makes it more important. It makes it a little bit easier, I think, too, to pull out $25 plus whatever $10+ for shipping.
Right.
When that person isn't just trying to hand you off something that they were just kind of, I was doodling and this is what came out that day and here you go. If people know and believe that what you're trying to do is something you're passionate about, I think they show up. And I think it's relatable for people. Everyone's got dreams, man, and they I think a lot of people like to do whatever they can to watch someone try to accomplish a dream.
Well, you got a lot.
I support people because I want them to do well. I'm sure it goes back the same way. So.
It's the yin and yang of the coach, the kick in the ass and the pat on the back.
Yeah,
you got to have that, man. It's the motivation. But yeah, you got a lot of talent out there, and we've seen it recently over the last year, 2 years. Really rise to the surface of guys that you haven't heard of before coming out with great books, cool characters, and their campaigns are getting that 20, 30,000, 40,000 plus money, and that's an attribute to the fact that CG is allowing these guys to have an ability to actually put their stuff out there and showcase their talent. Godlike better crush she, or I'll be disappointed in you, John. Oh man,
I only have goals. Like I said, if I hit 100 grand, thank you guys very much. I mean, if I don't, thank you guys very much. But that is pretty much my goal. I think that's a safe expectation with 2,000 people signed up. Is that it could hit $100,000. So if we do that, great. It's the first book though. It took Graveyard Shift 3 books to get $250,000. And, even that She campaign, it's an omnibus. It took that 30 years to get to that many books. So, look, we're on book 1. Give me a little bit of time.
Yeah.
We'll get there, guys.
It's definitely a patient game.
Yeah. So, I mean, if fans want to come, if backers, supporters want to go in there and, put this through the moon, great. Awesome. I'm not going to complain, So, but I have realistic expectations, and I don't want them to be so high. So that way, when I just hit $100,000, I don't want like to be crushed on that. Like, that's a win. $100,000 is a huge fucking win. Even $20,000 is a huge win, and that's what I was kind of saying before. Is like, first year of Comicsgate, a lot of like right below just pushing $10,000 of these smaller campaigns. Now these guys are doing 20,000 or 30,000, and it's like, oh well, in Comicsgate that may feel like a small number, but to everybody else out there crowdfunding, these are still rock star fucking numbers. So I'm glad to see that, and I do think that the rising tide lifts all ship has played, a bit of a part here. So I'm hopeful that everyone keeps going out YouTube, promoting Comicsgate, and look, man, we can all be Dale Keown one day.
Crypto says, just make that godlike omnibus.
That's gonna take some time, but look, I'm gonna throw in supplemental whatever. I mean, you throw that stuff together and edit it into one large story, then an omnibus within, I don't know, 3 or 4 years might be possible. Well,
and somebody also brought up a good point here that the money you make in your campaigns, and you do shorter campaigns than almost anybody, would just you don't go in demand, so that's
right.
And the money that you pull in that time that's impressive. You really set it up. You got an interesting way. You're the only one that does that, and it works for you, and that's awesome.
Yeah, it might cost me a lot of money. Like if you're like, oh, keep it open, you'll make $400,000. I'm like, maybe, I don't know,
Right.
But also I think, I look at it like what Cecil or somebody else, before him, I looked at like Mike, and I'm just like, well, I'm comparable to what these guys are doing. I don't think that I'm incredibly better than they are or whatnot. So I think I always felt like I was able just to do in 2 months because of that rarity, which would take them a year to do, So same with Cecil. It took a year for him to get up to where I'm at. So
right.
Yeah, not a backhanded compliment or
yeah. I mean, you still got to work for what you got. You got people have to discover you. They have to, word of mouth is a big thing. You promote yourself as much as you can, but CG is a very big word of mouth stuff. There's a lot of campaigns I wouldn't have heard about if somebody hadn't come to me and said, hey, did you check out this book? You check out that. So I mean, that's why I know people hate the word community, but that's the only thing I can think of. But that's why this is such a good thing, because everybody really seems to want to help campaigns out if you believe in it, or if you just have a good product you're putting out there. You're incredibly better than everyone.
Not many people say I'm humble. Thank you, Lord Kraken.
Yeah, he said, I like this. He said, you're too humble, John. And then Crazy Man says, you're incredibly better than everyone.
Is this John T?
Yeah. I like that about you. What about making a CG art book with a bunch of artists? Yeah, I wonder how well that would sell, and who would get the money.
CG art book with a bunch of artists.
Sounds like Graveyard Shift Visionaries right now.
Well, yeah, well, Visions. Yeah, Visions 2 is actually kind of geared towards that, like the next theme. So the first theme of Visions 1 was draw Lilith in a bikini, and that's pretty much it. In an adventure scene of some sort, hopefully. And the second theme is going to be other people's characters. So I'm reaching out to right now just a handful of creators just to get this kind of rolling, and I'm saying, hey, draw your character, in the best representation of her. It's got to be a female lead and a little sexy. And, so that's going to be kind of the theme for the next one. So that way, so the first one will kind of promote other people, you'll be able to, we're going to throw all the Twitter handles in for everyone, for all the commission pieces in there. They'll have Twitter handles in there so people can track them down on Twitter. But then on the second one, we'll put in like I don't know, Sean type 1 Ahrednt, like it would be like that. And so that way it's kind of promoting their project, and then it'd be like page 30, and then you can see some representation from Sean, which would be of his project. So that's kind of what
cool.
the theme that
Cool.
we're rolling with right now. So, but I got a year to get this one together. Right now, I have a few out there so I can see if any of these are going to potentially be the cover. I reached out to Kenneth Rocafort. He said he doesn't have a female character in his book. So I'm like, oh, okay. All right.
I have a couple female characters in my book.
Yeah.
In fact, I have some very sexy demon characters in my book. Which you'll all be able to see in next year in Reaper Destroyer when that comes out. All right, guys, we are going to wrap this stream up here. John, thank you so much for keeping your word and being a stand-up fella and coming over here when you said you would.
No problem.
And I'm sure there'll be many more chances, chat, that we get a chance to see Dale and John get together. Go back and
I'm hoping we can get him on for the final episode, or maybe an episode after we do all this, and just sit down and have a conversation with him, and
that'd be
just pick his brain. Like, like how long were these pages take you?
Yeah.
Like, how much weed did you smoke? So.
Absolutely. Yeah, that would be a dream come true. So everybody keep your fingers crossed on that. That would be absolutely awesome. Before we get out of here, Steve, you want to tell us about your channel and where we can find you?
Yep. OC Steve on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. I do geek news once a week. Just trying to talk about pop culture, but more importantly, I always wrap it and bring it home to Comicsgate. I'm not one of those people that just likes to call it crowdfunding. It's Comicsgate. I happily support this community and the creators that make things. Content-wise, whether it's an actual book, a campaign, or other related YouTube content creators, and just trying to dispel the myth of Comicsgate. There's a lot of this propaganda that's been put out by the mainstream where they like to label people because they decided to leave and go invest in themselves and be their own advocates and put out their own campaigns. And it's easy when you have a whole anti-bot campaign that attacks you. It's a lot harder to put yourself on market, go out there, try to gain interest, take your fans along for this ride, and have a great fun time with it. And so I'm trying to shed light on that and talk about the future of the industry moving forward as it slowly dies on the vine.
Very, very cool. Yeah, everybody sub to Steve's YouTube channel, sub to John's channel. Sean, I know you got some exciting news today.
Yeah, last night on the Ahrednt stuff, I got the video proof of the Type 1 preview book, and I'm happy to say that they put it in the mail today. So I will be getting the books within the next week or week and a half, and then start fulfillment, and then get it in your hands. I hope you like the gimmicky cover, and thank you everybody for spending hard-earned money on me, and I'm very appreciative.
Excited to get my copy.
Yeah, I got to see the video. It looks awesome. I can't wait to get mine too. It's going to be great.
It's really cool when you read your own comic for the first time. It's awesome.
Yeah.
This Type 2 back to Type 1, remember.
Yes, the tagline of the century. I love it. Yeah. If you guys like this content and this is the first time you've seen this, please subscribe, give it a like, hit the bell for notifications. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff like this down the line, and we're wrapping up the PITT series next week, and then who knows who might show up and what might happen. You can find me on the Ahrednt Stuff channel on Wednesdays and Fridays with Sean Ahrednt. We have a lot of guests on there. It's a good time. We've had John on there. It's just good. Check it out. Subscribe to that channel.
We're good folk.
We are good folk. Reaper Destroyer I'm working on right now for launch for next year. I'd like to show off a little bit that I've got Joe Weems on inks. I'm extremely excited. And Matt Banning. I got two of my favorite inkers from the 90s Top Cow days working on my book with me. Yeah, extremely excited to be working with those guys. And I just sent out some new pages to both of those guys this week. So looking forward to getting those back. Tomorrow night, we're not going to be on Ahrednt Stuff. We're taking the night off. We got too much stuff going on. But Friday night, we got Art T. Bear coming on. I'll be extremely excited to talk to him and dive into his career. It'll be a really, really good time. So, all right, guys, thank you so much.
And announcing the Wolf and Stuff
sketch
contest winners on Friday. So,
Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate it. Okay, guys. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you all next week, Tuesday at 10 o'clock. We are wrapping up issues 14 through 20. Really looking forward to it. It's been a fun ride. I love looking at Dale's art. This was inspiring me as a kid. It inspires me today. It absolutely does.
Yeah.
John, thank you so much for joining us. As always, Steve, thank you for being here. Sean, I love you, brother. And everybody, thank you for joining us. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And until next time, everybody be safe. And as always, picture me naked. Talk to you later.
Bye.